The Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cloudy day today. It's 38, both in Florissant and St. Peters. We have 37 degrees reported downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
And by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis and Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
It's always good to be on a Gashouse Gang Monday. What's up, Chris Ranji? How are you?
Oh, buddy, so much going on.
There is. This is a great sports time of year. It's March. It's officially March. College basketball is upon us. Bob Ramsey is with us. For those of you who don't follow college basketball during the year, you are now welcomed in. This is the month that a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, college hoops bracket. I got to fill one out. Who's good? Who's not? Bob Ramsey will let you know about St. Louis University basketball. I'll tell you that. But I'm fired up for March. I was just over at the Missouri Valley Conference office picking up my credential and parking pass for Arch Madness. We have that going on Thursday through Sunday at Enterprise Center. But in the middle of that, I'll be heading to Jupiter, going down to spring training on Saturday. Always look forward to that. I cannot believe this actually makes me feel really, really old. But this is my 30th Cardinals team that I will cover. And that kind of blows me away. Man. 1997 was my first one. My first day at KMOX was the day after Mark McGwire was traded to the Cardinals. And so this will be team number 30 for me. Very much looking forward to it. Yeah.
That's a long time. And I interned the following year.
Yes, you
station.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I was in the locker room when McGwire went off on the press because they were asking him why he hadn't hit a home run in 3 games. And he told everybody to go home and worry about their families, which was, I'm 21 and I'm right in the middle of it going, oh my God.
I remember that one. I covered that team on a daily basis, but that was one day that I missed. And I remember that. And you were in there sticking a mic in there for KMOX. And he said, go home to your families.
Because let's think about it. Do you know who set him off? It was Jeremy Schaap. And ESPN.
He saw one side of Jeremy Schaap and knew this was getting
because it was the home run chase season.
It was
it was like, oh my gosh, why has he gone 2 games without hitting a home run? And so it was longer than that. I think it was like 4 or 5 games, and he was on a bit of a drought. And Schaap kept pushing him on it, and McGwire said, you know what? Just don't worry about me. Go home and worry about your families. And I thought, this is incredible.
That was, for people who don't, and, not to pick on our producer, Matt Pajeski, who I love dearly, but
he's 11.
He was not alive when that was going on, right?
He doesn't even remember 9/11.
No, he was born the year after the home run chase.
That's right.
McGwire Sosa, which, in some ways seems like it just happened. And in others, I know it was a long time ago, but 1998 was an incredible resurgence for baseball. And I know now, when you look back, steroids and performance-enhancing drugs were part of it, but that doesn't mean we take our emotions back.
No.
I mean, at the time, it was unbelievable. I mean, what was happening with this guy and all the other players, especially Sosa, but McGwire was hitting tape measure home runs into the far reaches of the upper deck during batting practice
with
to the
ease.
point where they were letting people into the ballpark to watch this happen. And it was incredible. And then he would do it in a game. I saw him once turn around the lefty, Billy Wagner, threw a fastball, and he's a Hall of Famer now, Billy Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
He hit one 511 feet into the concourse in the upper deck of the old Busch Stadium. So it went into the upper deck, into that little tunnel that goes out to the concession stands up there, 511 feet to win the game.
So do you remember, I happened to be there the night he hit the center field batter's eye. Above it was a St. Louis Post-Dispatch sign.
545.
Do you remember this?
On that
545. I was there for it, and I remember being in the press box, and usually after the home run, within a matter of seconds, they say estimated 400 feet or whatever, and they didn't for a couple of innings. And then they got on the PA, and they told us in the press, we're still trying to figure out where the ball landed. We think it hit that Post-Dispatch sign. So we're going back and looking at it. And then remember, they put the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
They put a huge Band-Aid on the sign. Because that, for people who don't remember the old ballpark, that was dead center field, and it was a bomb, an absolute bomb. But anyway, and just real quick to tie this back into the Valley Conference, I know we're going to move on. That tournament, the Arch Madness tournament, starts Thursday, as you said. My Redbirds, the last time they went to the NCAA tournament was about 5 months, I guess, 6 months before he broke the home run record. That's how long it's been. So I'm hoping that when Arch Madness rolls around, our Birds have a little run in them.
It's incredible that it's been that long.
I can't believe it.
I mean, Dan Muller won a regular season title.
He was in the last tournament. He was
as
a player,
and he did it as a coach.
Yep.
And they still didn't let him in because they didn't win the automatic bid, and they
Right.
couldn't get an at-large at that
right.
point. Man, oh man, are you kidding me? Wow,
Man,
it's been that
that's
long.
some kind of drought, buddy.
Illinois State, by the way, played a heck of a game yesterday. They got a little revenge on Belmont, the number 1 seed,
That's right.
mind you. Got them 81-74, so they earned themselves a pretty nice-looking seed in the tournament. They are now the 3 seed in Arch Madness. The number 2 seed is Bradley,
Yep.
and the 4 is Murray State. So Murray State's the one now that has to play Bradley in the second round if they get to that point. They have to get through that 4-5 game. But yeah, that's the setup for Arch Madness.
Love it.
Man, 1998, though, I could tell like a million stories from that. It was just remarkable. I had not gone to spring training yet. My first spring training was 2001, where they had this guy down in the minor leagues that was hitting tape measure home runs. His name was Albert Pujols. And it was Mark McGuire who kept nudging Tony La Russa, and others were nudging him. Now, today, they say, they were going to put him on the team all along. It wasn't the Bobby Bonilla injury necessarily that put Pujols on the roster, but Bonilla did have a hamstring strain that did open a door for him. So it was very nice. While we're talking baseball, this spring training report is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. Matt Pauley is calling the game, I do believe, isn't he? So I want to do a little live. Can we do a little live lookie? Can we do a little lookie? A live
record report from Paulie.
Well, let's hear Paulie's latest on the Cardinals, and then if you can, just for a little added bonus, because I love Matthew Paulie, get a little live look in on the Cardinals game they're playing right now at Cardinals.com. But first, let's hear Matt.
Fellas, I can't be with you live today as the Cardinals and Marlins are playing. For folks who want to listen to the game, Mike Claiborne, Stephen Carey, and myself have the call at MLB.com, Cardinals.com, and on the MLB app. Today, Andre Palante is starting for the Cardinals, and bluntly, the Marlins lineup, well, it is not real imposing when you look at it on paper. The vast majority of their lineup is guys who have not even made their major league debut. Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol talked about that earlier today and did admit that you maybe judge Palante a little bit different, but there's still certainly some things that don't change that they're going to be looking for from him.
You definitely evaluate that somewhat different, but how he attacks the strike zone is no different, right? So you still have that component of it. Not to say that they can't whack him around, but you take that into account for sure. But how he's attacking the game plan is and his ability to execute that is still something you're keeping a really close eye on.
Nolan Gorman is in the lineup today as he bats fourth. He is playing at third base, and Marmol says as they go through spring and continue to evaluate him, what he's doing defensively is a big part of that.
Also how he's moving around and his ability to kind of range at third and come in on balls and get to his backhand and do those things that we're going to need. I mean, one of our strengths is our pitching, and we want to make sure that we protect that. So evaluating his ability to move around is also a big part of it outside of the bat.
Against the Cardinals and the Marlins going on right now from Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. You can listen to the game at MLB.com, Cardinals.com, and on the MLB app. I'll be back with you guys live coming up tomorrow in Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, let's listen in live right now on the ball game.
Attractive to some. And then you have the cool zone out and right for you. The next pitch is on the way, and he caught the strike. I think Dylan Lewis would like to challenge that, but hadn't been here long enough for that, so we'll hold off on that.
Started reaching for the bill of his helmet there.
He called time just to kind of collect himself. So Palante has him on the hook. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at first, 2 out. As Palante from the stretch. Comes to the plate, runner going, swing and a miss, and down on strikes he goes, and that's how the inning ends. The Marlins strand a runner. We go to the bottom of the first, no score.
All right, so there you go. Andre Palante with a scoreless first inning, and looking at the game day cast on MLB.com, it does look like those last 2 strikes. Clabe said that third one looked like it was out of the zone. The second one was 2, and then a swing and a miss on a slider to get the strikeout. And J.J. Weatherholt is going to bat in the bottom of the first. Again, if you want to follow that, you can go to KMOX.com. We'll have a link.
You
can go directly to Cardinals.com also if you'd like.
And Tom, it'll be really interesting to watch players learn to adjust to when they should or shouldn't call for the review on the pitch on the ABS system, because it's got to come from the hitter. I don't think it can come from the dugout, right? It's got to be the batter, pitcher, or catcher. Those are the only ones who can call for it. So it'll be interesting to see players like kind of, self-police. Like, should I waste the challenge now, or should I? All right, I'll hold off on that one. Because if you challenge and it's successful, you get to keep your challenge. But if you don't, you lose it. And I think players will be worried about losing them.
I agree. And I do think that the majority of challenges will be coming from the catcher or the hitter. I don't see the pitcher probably doing a lot of those. The pitcher's throwing, and then, a lot of times they're off the mound. They can't see if that's a accurate strike or not, like the catcher can, or the hitter, certainly, who wants to stay alive in an at bat or something like that. But it's going to be interesting to watch that all. We had it last year in spring training, but this time it'll be for real. Can you imagine if you had a walk-off moment on a review? That's going to happen at some point. Yeah.
Of course it will.
Yeah, that's going to happen at some point. A game is going to be decided on an ABS call.
We're going to spend a little time, I think, talking about the Oliver Marmol extension. We'll do that later in the show, Tom. I know that we didn't get an opportunity to do it here, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, it would be wrong to start it now because we got to go to break. It's a discussion.
Yeah.
It's longer than just a couple of minutes. But first, you know what I want to hear from you?
Tell me.
I want to hear about FanDuel.
You want to hear about FanDuel?
Yes,
you want to hear about college basketball? We were just talking about college hoops. And the thing about it is nonstop. There are huge games, especially this time of year. Conference tournaments coming up, and then the big dance is coming up as well. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger victories with a college basketball parlay profit boost. So here's how it works. You can build any college hoops parlay you like. So that's the early tip, a rivalry game, maybe a ranked matchup, or you maybe like those late night West Coast games. You mix the spreads, totals, props, whatever it is you like, and then apply your profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. You can go safe. You could try to be bold with it. Go with a team that you've been following all season long. It's your pick. Head to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
Breathe happy Febreze, la 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 la.
If
Builders St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Come tour amazing outdoor living spaces.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Still here, still trusted. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Back on the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji, producers Matt Pajeski and Frank Ladd. I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's go to the fifth member of our crew this afternoon, and that would be Amy Markscores, who always talks hockey with us on Mondays. Hi, Amy.
Hey, guys.
What's going on? Well, the Blues got a win on the road. Oh, my goodness. That is something else. And it has been a tough year for them. But right now, how do you view this thing? I mean, obviously, you want to win and play well if you're the Blues and players. Some fans are saying, hey, you're costing us a high draft pick here. I mean, how do you view the season at this point?
I know. It's hard because, of course, it's fun to win, and it was fun to see the team win. But since it has been such a vastly disappointing season, you are looking at draft picks, and right now the Blues are second to last in the NHL. And that puts you in some good numbers for potentially high draft pick. The Blues just historically do not pick in the top 5. I mean, you look at teams like Edmonton, you've looked at teams like New Jersey, and how these teams have picked in the top 5 multiple times in recent years. And the Blues just have not historically because, well, they've always been competitive. What did they have? 25 years of going to the playoffs. So, yes, it was fun to win, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, don't win too much now because you don't want to jeopardize that position. But here's what I take away from the win last night. It was fun to see Logan Mailloux get more and more minutes, and to see him producing offensively, which is really, that was his biggest selling point when the Blues picked him up, is that he could be this offensive-minded defenseman. And you saw that. You saw him jumping up in the rush. You've seen his minutes come up to 20 minutes in a game, which he just has not had. And so I think it comes down to, for me, the rest of the season is developing the young guys and see what we've got.
So this week on Friday at 2 o'clock, I think, is the trade deadline. Can you see anything happening here?
I do see things happening. I have no idea what those things actually will be. The biggest, I guess, ruffle that we're seeing in the rumor mill coming from, trusted names like Elliot Friedman, is that it's Robert Thomas on the trading block, that Robert Thomas could be traded. And of course, I have no insight to that. I'm just seeing what everybody else is seeing. And that was kind of a surprise to me in the sense that dynamic playmaking centers are not easy to come by. They're not easy to come by. And honestly, if I were going to flag a few players that you want to keep in the locker room, Robert Thomas is one of them. And there's talk about him being, leadership material. If Shen were to move on to a different team, would Robert Thomas be captain? And so I don't know how much weight there is to that. I really don't. Obviously, it would be Robert Thomas waiving a no-trade clause. If Jordan Kyrou Pavel Buchnevich, they would all have to waive their no trade clauses. But I think the one that most people are talking about is Robert Thomas. And I think trading Robert Thomas would be a pretty big admission that the Blues are starting over.
I've seen some discussion about Boston being interested in the likes of Parayko, and I think Braden Shen was on that list too.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see that happening?
Oh, man, I'd be surprised with Parayko. Braden Shen, I think it would have to be, he would have to agree to want to go, because I know he does like being in St. Louis. He's turned down a trade before, wanting to stay in St. Louis. I think Justin Falk, I know his name has not been talked about that much, but to me, with the year that he's having, one of the few players on this roster that's having a really good year, and going into the playoffs, any team is going to want a bump from the blue line with an offensive player. And Justin Falk, I think, would have really high trade value, although I haven't heard anything regarding him. With Robert Thomas, just quickly going back to him, how wild it is. Of all teams, it was like the Utah Mammoth that people were talking about. Again, these are all rumors, but that would be an in-division trade, which seems kind of wild to me. That seems unlikely, unless Doug Armstrong and Alexander Steen got a massive payback. But again, it's just all rumors, so I have no idea.
If you're Robert Thomas and you have a chance to go win the cup before the Blues get themselves back together, I would say that's appealing, but we'll see. Yeah. But I think Justin Falk's going to get traded. I mean, it's a $6.5 million cap hit through next season for him. I mean, that's like, what? He's a goal-scoring veteran defenseman. I think not only will he be traded, I think there's going to be a bidding war to get him. That's what I think.
That's why I'm so surprised, Tom, that I haven't heard more, rumors about Justin Falk, how it's kind of gone to these other big names, and maybe because those are the names that gets clicks and headlines, would be your dynamic playmaking center. But Justin Falk, to me, makes the most sense for a team that would be willing to give up some youth, give up some talent for a veteran, offensive-minded defenseman to make that push into the playoffs.
Amy Mark scores. When are you next on with Chris Kerber?
Wednesday night, 6 p.m., Matrix Midwest. Would be Spectrum Channel 6 over the air 32.
Offside hockey with Curbs and Amy.
And when are you next on with me?
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Chris and Amy show.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Appreciate you, Amy. Thank you.
Bye, Amy.
Thanks, guys.
Always good to talk to Amy Mark scores. Chris Ranji with her every day from 9 to noon.
For many, many hours.
And for many years. How long have you guys been doing
like 3 years or something. Yeah. We started with Kevin, and then then it's the two of us.
Ollie Marmol is one of the longest tenured. He's going to be one of the longest tenured managers in the National League. What do you think about that? 2-year contract extension through 28, club option for 29.
I am perfectly fine with this deal. And and this is not because he gives us time during the Gashouse Gang every week and was really good with us and really good with the questions from the fan base. It's because I think he's actually pretty good at the job. And if you look at the metrics, if you look at numbers like the Pythagorean, which isn't it's not like a gospel number, but it is something to pay attention to. The amount of runs that you give up versus the amount of runs that you score. And the fact that they were probably about 4 wins better than they should have been, considering the runs scored and runs allowed last year, it indicates to me that he does a pretty good job handling the team that he does have. We know he does a pretty good job with the bullpen. I think that if you look back at it throughout the course of the season, there were very few times you're thinking, well, why did you make this move? Why not do this? Why not go with somebody else? I feel pretty confident in all of that. And knowing all those things and knowing his roster really isn't all that great, I think he's done pretty well with it. And so I am more than happy that they have decided to extend him for another couple of seasons, and it could go longer than that. There's the club option for 2029. I know some Cardinals fans are going to see it and go, well, more of the same stuff. Why not go bigger? I don't know. It seems to me that he is the right guy for right now.
I completely understand that there are a wide range of opinions when it comes to Cardinal baseball. All right. So there are a lot of people who don't like him. There are a lot of people who do like him. There are most people who are in the middle, and I'm going to address everybody here at once. Chaim Bloom could have fired Ollie Marmol if he wanted to. He was given that freedom. He is the president of baseball operations. That is his job, actually, is to hire and fire the manager. He has decided not to do that. You don't think Chaim Bloom knows every single manager in baseball and anybody who's an up-and-comer and anybody who would want to be part of this project? So he made that decision to retain Marmol based on not a snap decision, based on 2 years of observation and the fact that this is a team in development for the next 2 years. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is a team in development, and he believes that the man in charge of the field staff, Ollie Marmol, is the best person to do just that. So I'm going to meet you in the middle, anybody who is negative about this or positive about this, actually, and say, let's just say that Ollie Marmol for the next 2 years will be observed as to if he is the right man for the job in developing this team and making them better each and every day as they gear towards 2028 to become the contender that people think they could be if this farm system flourishes.
Right.
This is not a situation where you fire the manager. I'm going to agree with Chaim on this. Where you fire the manager, then you have a lack of continuity. Do you not want some continuity if you're Marmol, if you're Bloom going into this thing at the top of your field staff? This is not the time to shake it up with a new person unless you think that somebody else is better fit for this, and he didn't. So you're going to have to put your trust in Chaim Bloom that he knows what he's doing on this.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There, we have a comment from a viewer watching us on YouTube, and you can watch YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the KMOX sports pages. And part of what he says is this team will finish last in MLB until he's gone. And it's comments like this that really drive me a bit loony because it misses the point of why a team is where they are. Why do you think the Cardinals finish under 500? Why do you think they're missing the playoffs? The easy thing is to say, well, I don't like the manager. He's not any good. The real truth is the roster isn't good enough. They just don't have enough good players. They had a bad rotation last year. They didn't get enough offense last year. It's that simple. It's not about the manager. It's about the collection of talent you have. And the Cardinals, let's just be honest, have not been talented enough compared to what other teams in the National League were. That's the simple end of this.
The coach of St. Louis University basketball, I sure hope he stays, and I sure hope the Billikens can retain him. His name is Josh Schertz. We're going to talk to Bob Ramsey, the voice of the Billikens, coming up in our next segment. First, I want to tell you about Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best is Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They have been here since 1968, the year that the Cardinals played the Tigers in the World Series. That's how far back they go. 68. So we're talking 58 years of outstanding service to St. Louis. Yes, the entire St. Louis area, even though they're called Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's where their showroom is located. They have 2 warehouses. They use all their trucks and tools. They're outstanding craftsmen. This is the place for fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, screen rooms, retaining walls, anything outdoors related to outdoor living. Chesterfield Fence and Deck will handle it and have been handling it for over 58 years now. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You will receive 48 months. Add that up. 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. With Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Deep left field, and it's a gunner.
Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz. 3 voices, 1 hour, all Cardinals. From roster battles in Jupiter to pennant races in St. Louis, the Redbird Rush Hour delivers. The Redbird Rush Hour, weeknights at 5 on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Cloudy and 38 degrees, the high today of 46. Showers possible tonight and a low of 40. The weather brought to you by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Many times, a person hires a law firm after an injury without doing research. It can be a big mistake or not. Sometimes after you have hired a certain lawyer, you realize you made a certain mistake. But guess what? Just because you hire them doesn't mean you can't fire them. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you think you've hired the wrong firm, you may have. So do this. Google Morgan & Morgan results or visit forthepeople.com for cases just like yours. You may find that our full-service injury firm should have been your choice in the first place. Last year, almost 12,000 people discharged their law firm and hired us after further research. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com today and let's get started. Or call Pound Law on your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. March is that time of year when a lot of us start thinking about fresh starts, spring cleaning, that kind of stuff. If you are in the market for replacement windows, here's the deal from Universal. When you buy 2 windows, you get 2 for free with no limit, 24 months with no payments and no interest, giving you 2 full years to enjoy the comfort before paying a dime. $500 bonus off your home improvement project. 314-334-2522 or universalwindowsdirect.com.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Back to Sharma, center circle. 10 seconds left. Now to Robbie. From the
Cash
logo.
out, Robbie. Cash out.
Bang!
Cash out.
From the logo. Ball game. Robbie Avila.
Man, he's so good. 5 threes for him. That's career high, tying 5 threes for Robbie Avila. 23 points in that game. He had 21 in the second half as SLU beat Duquesne 91-76. It was an absolute pleasure to be on a fantastic crew that had the games this year on TV. Bob Ramsey with the call there on radio. Billiken Report sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Rammer and Earl were honored before that game for 40 years in broadcasting. Bob Ramsey first started doing the games in 1985. And I just feel so good for him. This is the best team that he's ever had. They're 14-2, Ranj. That's the most conference wins SLU has had in its school history. Amazing run for SLU. They're now 26-3. And if they stay at this pace, they're going to have the best winning percentage in school history, the best winning streak in school history. It is, without a doubt, the best team that they have had. Now, Rick Majerus had some really good teams, so I want to be a little careful about at the end of the season how we're looking, because he had some teams that could give you trouble in the NCAA tournament. But I'm here to tell you, Bob Ramsey, and it's great to have you on the show. If Josh Schertz gets this team into the NCAA tournament, I think you got to be careful with SLU. They can come at you in a hurry, and we saw it again against Duquesne.
You know, you guys are right. There have been a number of games where they've scored over 50 points and a half, and it's that kind of snowball effect that becomes an avalanche, and that's absolutely what they're capable of. And what's funny is they can achieve it in different ways with different players. For instance, on Saturday, it was Robbie Avila who had 2 points in the first half. And then he comes back and absolutely takes over the game in the second half, not just with scoring, but with defense, rebounding, and assists. And it was really, really fun to watch Robbie just have his way in the second half. So whether it's him or Brady Dunlap or Ishan Sharma, and you could go down the whole list, Kellen Thames, different guys have the capability under a certain set of circumstances to take over a game.
I'd like to know how you feel about this, because watching on Saturday, they have fallen behind early in a lot of the games they have played, especially in the last couple of months. But that was one of those on Saturday where Duquesne was they were not missing anything. They were like 100% from three for about 4 minutes to start the game. Their field goal percentage was like 80 something. They just were not missing any shots. So how do you weigh or assess the effort they had, the Billikens, in the first half up against that? Because that's just, that's out of this world. I mean, a team just can't get off to that hot of the start very often.
Well, a couple of the 2 or 3 things there in your question. One is it was really odd. The Billikens played their best game of the year against Dayton on January 30th. Since then, the slow start thing has kind of crept into the way they play. So it's really been a whole month now of the slow starts.
Yep.
But for this one in particular, Coach Sertz told us that he felt the Billiken effort was there. And there are times in sports and in basketball, in this case, that sometimes there are moments where you got to tip your cap to the opposition. Now, he said you don't accept those kinds of things. You still have to be determined in a focused effort to not have that happen. But that previously throughout the month, he thought maybe the team came out a little bit back on their heels, not quite ready to play. He didn't feel like that was as a big a factor on Saturday.
It's yeah. Go ahead, Bart.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, it's not a big physical team until Paul Otieno comes into the game and Thames. And when he put Otieno and Thames in the game together, I said, okay, here we go. I mean, you want some physicality? Let's go. And Otieno is one of those guys. He's imposing, and he made a huge difference in that game, I thought. And I think he'll do the same thing from here on out. The first hint, Rammer, that they feel like they're getting pushed around, Otieno comes off the bench and comes into the game.
Yeah, and for much of the game, I think it had season high minutes, and he and Robbie playing together presents a bigger challenge for the opposition because it allows Robbie to kind of hang out up top and play that high post passing stuff where the offense runs through the high post, and Paul's on the baseline block to block, and I think you'll see some. I think you're right. You will see a lot more of that. And then when Robbie's out, you still can do some things like Paul threw an alley-oop dunk. And so there can be it gives you a few more big man options with Paul in there. And he's kind of worked his way into that role where he's going to play more minutes. I think you're right.
So we have a question here. Somebody watching us on YouTube says they're rooting for the Billikens. If they don't win the A10 tournament, and this is a question that we've all been wondering, with 2 games left to go, the E-line wants to know if they will be left out of the big dance if they don't win that tournament. My feeling, and this is just a gut, is that if they win out in the regular season here, they're probably okay. Rammer, do you think so?
Well, each game, if you win or lose, presents a little bit different scenario when it applies to the NCAA tournament. If you win out, you're automatically in. If you lose in, let's say, the A10 championship game, but you've won your other games going up to that, that'd be 4 more games. I think you're in great shape. Anything with each game that maybe you don't win under that total, I think that it presents I think the odds change just a little bit each time. If you lose Wednesday and then you lose Saturday, then you lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, of the Atlantic 10 tournament, you're in big trouble, right? You're in big trouble. But if you win those games, you're in great shape. So, and that's what it should come down to. It shouldn't come down to the wins above bubble and all that baloney. It should come down to who's winning games and who's losing games.
I agree with you on that. I know this about Wednesday is it is going to be an emotional day. There's no other way around it. And Josh Schertz will probably downplay this until it actually happens, but there will be some tears flowing in that place with Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila on senior night at Chaffetz Arena. I mean, Rammer, they have been together since Robbie was a high school kid, and he called Josh and said, I'm in. I'm coming to Terre Haute.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really emotional. And 2 kinds of guys that are really pragmatic people, analytics people. So it'll be really interesting to see how, when the moment hits them, how they'll react to it. Now, keep in mind, I think it would have even more impact on them if they'd both been here all 4 of Robbie's years in St. Louis. So does that change it? I don't know. And they both know that hopefully they have a number of more games together moving forward. So there's a lot of things going into that. But when you're talking to tears flowing, I'm getting to be an old sappy guy, and that kind of stuff is really meaningful to me. So it'll be funny to see how the old timers on the sideline react too.
Well, two things. One, it was absolutely wonderful to see you and Earl out there on the floor with Coach Schertz, Chris May, and everybody honoring you for 40 years behind the microphone. I mean, how special was that?
It was really nice, but Tom, you buried the lead.
What's that?
Earl and I got fat heads in the student section.
You did. You and Robbie and Earl.
That's the story of the year. No question.
You hadn't had those before?
Never.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, second part of it, how about this? That is awesome. Second part of it is that crowd was awesome, and they have been awesome all year. I got an email about an hour ago that they're down to 500 tickets. That number for Wednesday has now been reduced to 100. There are only 100 tickets left for Wednesday night's game against Loyola, Rammer.
Yeah, and I'm generally I love capitalism and people do your own thing. I generally don't like secondary markets for tickets because it marks things up, and that's not good. But if you're desperate to get there and the game gets sold out, there's probably ways to get tickets on the secondary market. And so there's no reason for any empty seats for senior night in the last game of the regular season at home for what might turn out to be the best season ever since 1948.
How many times you seen Nelly at the arena?
Gosh, it seems like he has been there one or two other times, and maybe it's more, but it was pretty cool that he was there. It was funny. There was a gentleman actually a little bit older than me sitting 2 seats down. He goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm here with Nelly and all that." And I go, "Be sure and tell him how many of his songs you've downloaded." And he just the 75-year-old guy, and he just looked at me and smiled. "Okay, you got me."
Yeah. Well, you know what? When the 75-year-old, when Nelly started, that 75-year-old was 49. So, I mean,
So there you go.
I mean,
right.
he's been going at it for a while, this guy. But it was cool to see him.
You know what's fun? You know what's fun about that, boys, is that, we've seen Blues players there, Cardinals and former Cardinals there a lot, and a lot more celebrities and local celebrities that come through and making Chaffetz Arena on game night place to be. That's really an accomplishment and really makes it fun.
It is so much fun, and it has been an incredible ride. It's March. You don't want this to end. I want this thing to go to April, and we'll see how far they can take it. Big game coming on Wednesday against Loyola to close this out on the home schedule. Then they play at George Mason, and then the A-10 tournament, which if they do secure the number 1 seed, they won't have to play until next Friday. So they'll have some time to prepare for that double bye and get ready for the A-10 tournament. Bob Ramsey, it is always a treat to hear your voice on this radio station. We're going to hear it again tonight because you have the coaches show with Josh Schertz, and then again Wednesday at home against Loyola. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Thank you, fellas. It will be a lot of fun. We're at Ballpark Village tonight. I think there's some autographs and some giveaways for tonight, so try and stop by. The food is great there. The atmosphere is great. So we'll see everybody tonight, and that'll be 6 o'clock on KMOX.
6 o'clock indeed, and we look forward to that. Your reports are sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri.
Our friends at Royal Banks offer tailored commercial banking services designed to help your business reach the next level. You have more than just a bank. We'll be a local partner invested in your success. Call 314-212-1500 for more details. Royal Banks of Missouri. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
There will be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Larry Older here. One of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com, all one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Welcome back, Gloria. For years now, you've been on KMOX helping families plan their next big move with your guaranteed sold program. For those planning to sell their home this year, what's your best advice?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my guaranteed sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, if you want a realtor who will guarantee results, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling
And by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis and Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Gashouse Gang for about 6 more minutes, and that's plenty of time to talk about the AP Top 25 featuring not 1, not 2, but 3 of your favorite local teams. Let me break this down for you. Number 1 team in the nation is Duke, followed by Arizona and Michigan and UConn. I've been saying those are my top 4. Those are the 4 teams you're going to have to deal with, I think, to get to the Final Four. But look out for Florida. I mean, they just dropped 111 points on Arkansas. They look incredible. They're ranked 5th. They are the defending national champions. Then a couple of teams that have slipped, Iowa State and Houston. Michigan State jumped 5 spots up to 8. They beat Indiana yesterday. Nebraska and Texas Tech, who beat Iowa State in Ames, wrap up the top 10. Illinois slips 1 spot to 11. They should be fine. They're going to be probably not playing in St. Louis. There was a question about that from the E-line. I don't think so, but we'll see. I mean, if they make a run and they win the Big Ten tournament, they could get rewarded that way. It's not out of the question yet, but for right now, I have not seen them placed in St. Louis in any bracketology. Gonzaga, Virginia, Kansas, Purdue are through the top 15. Then you go Alabama, North Carolina, St. John's, Miami of Ohio moves up to 19. They are 29-0, and Arkansas, St. Mary's, Miami, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and St. Louis. SLU is in the top 25 still at number 25. They slipped just 2 spots after losing at Dayton, but coming back and beating up Duquesne. Look who's in at number 29, just 4 spots out of the top 25, the University of Missouri.
Yep, Missouri is right there, man.
Missouri is right there. They're 20-9, Ranj. They are now at that magic 10 wins in the SEC, I think the Tigers are in this tournament. I mean, I don't see, unless they completely collapse here, they've qualified. They've beaten enough top 25 teams. They've won their 10 SEC games. They've finished strong, and it's a done deal. I think it's done already.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're right now their net ranking is at 47. So I think from their perspective, it's probably good enough to get in. Excuse me, that's their Ken Palm, not their net. Their net ranking at the moment, they are at 53. So, yeah, I mean, I think those last couple of wins likely get them in. The good news for the Billikens, as we have been talking about them a lot, having stayed in the top 25, which is good news. I mean, they're still right around that same range they were in the net. I think they were 24 now, 27 in the Ken Palm. So, like, these are some really good numbers to pay attention to. I just feel like if they win the next couple of games, regular season games, I think they're likely in NCAA tournament, I think. But I would hate for them to win the next two and then lose, because they're going to be a high seed. They'll be the number one seed in their conference tournament. I'd hate for them to lose that first round game that they play.
Yeah, there are a couple trio, actually, of OVC teams, local teams, that are going to make a run here and try for it. SIUE and Lindenwood, they both play on Wednesday in the OVC tournament in Evansville. SIUE's got Eastern Illinois, and Lindenwood has Arkansas Little Rock. And then you got SEMO. I mean, SEMO is a real threat here to win the OVC. Remember, automatic bid there too, and they've both done it. At SEMO and SIUE have both done it. Now Lindenwood is eligible to get into this tournament if they can make a run. I don't know if they're good enough to do it, but I think the other two are. But we'll see. But those three are in contention for that. And, of course, we talked about the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. I just love this time of year. Look, back to Illinois real quick. They're 5 in the net. 5.
Mm-hmm.
They're way up there. Don't worry about it. Michigan is, in my opinion, the best and most complete team in the country, even though their ranking might not reflect it. I think they're better than Duke and Arizona. I think Michigan has every piece, and it doesn't surprise me at all that they went into Champaign and won. This Illinois team will be just fine. They're the tallest team in the country. They're super talented. They're very well coached. They're very, very smart. They all shoot the lights out, it seems. They defend like crazy. I mean, Illinois can get to this Final Four. And I think the best part about Illinois is how efficient they are offensively. When they're at their best and they defend, they're incredibly efficient offensively. And I put them in the top shelf of teams that could get to the Final Four in Indianapolis, by the way. So if they were to get there, everybody just crosses the border and loads that place up with orange. That could happen.
Yeah, and I wouldn't completely rule out them ending up in St. Louis for that first round.
No, they could still do
I mean, it's still pretty much in reach. And like you said, if they're 5th in the net, I still think they're likely to end up as a 2 seed. If you're a 2, they'll try to accommodate some of those higher seeds, which would mean Illinois play here.
St. Louis gets March 20th and 22nd, the first and second rounds of the tournament.
That's the Friday-Sunday matchups.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on. Tomorrow's show, we're going to be joined by Bernie Miklas. I'm thinking maybe we give Jerry Palm a call. You know, Jerry and I go way back, and he's been on palmbrackets.com talking and releasing brackets, talking about SLU. He's got them basically what he said about the Billikens. I trust his judgment on this. He said, just to be honest, they don't have any wins that can help them. Everything from here on out could hurt them, including the A-10 if they don't get to the final. So what, in his opinion, they got to get to the final of the A-10 and they're good, and they can't slip up between now and then. I still think if they lost to George Mason on the road and made a run in the A-10 tournament, that wouldn't hurt them either. It's hard to leave out the regular season champ, but it happens. These bid stealers, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it could happen in the Valley too if Belmont doesn't win. That could be one spot that that hurts them.
We'll see. It's all fun. I love March. For Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks for joining us. The DGS is next.
Center, the top marine dealers from the Lake